It is 2015. A then still young and determined lecturer joins Durham University. As is the tradition, she gets invited for dinner at one of the university's colleges. She approaches the room, and there it is. A sea of black suits and ties. Frantic thoughts race through her mind. What the hell am I doing here? And how do I get out? She hesitates, then enters. I don't remember very much about that dinner. Not who I was sitting next to, most certainly not the food. But I do remember this feeling of being completely out of place, like I didn't really belong where I was. Often when people take the next step in their career, we can expect them to feel a bit like an imposter, and we think it's acceptable. After all, they're new to the game, and they're still learning. Now, think about accomplished leaders, people who we all know and admire. Think of Michelle Obama, or Starbucks tycoon Howard Schultz, or even pop icon Lady Gaga. Now, that's a different league, completely different story. They're strong, they're famous, they're successful. An accomplished person, someone who has a long-standing career, who acts from a position of power, shouldn't really feel out of their depth or undeserving. Imposturism has no place in what it means to be a leader, right? Not right at all. All three of them, Michelle Obama, Howard Schultz, and Lady Gaga, have talked about their feelings of imposturism. What others expect of these leaders is not how they feel deep down inside. In fact, what I will talk about today is how leaders are more likely to feel like imposters. Perhaps that sounds a bit scary to some of you, but what if imposturism was actually a good thing? What if you could use it to pivot something better? I want to talk to you about how imposturism can make you a better leader. If you felt like an imposter before, you don't have to admit, but you might. You're in good company. We know from empirical research that around 70 to 80% of people experience imposturism at some point in their lives. It's that nagging feeling of insecurity, that we're undeserving of our accomplishments, that we don't belong where we are. A fraud waiting to be uncovered. So in the 1970s, Pauline Rose Clance, who was a clinical psychologist, and her colleague Susanne Eames first studied the phenomenon of imposturism. And they found that many high-achieving women, female university students and faculty, felt like imposters. Fun fact, actually, some of the students apparently suffered from imposturism so badly that they thought they had been allocated a place at the university due to an admissions error. Now, you might say, well, they were young and those were different times, 1970s, feels like a long time ago. Why would leaders today feel like imposters? My friend and collaborator, Ronit Kak, who is a professor of leadership and organizational psychology at Bar-Ilan University in Israel, says that those who lead others often face a very potent combination of elevated expectations, high levels of responsibility, and high visibility. This may sound familiar to some of you. So, in other words, these leaders maybe don't feel good enough for the position of power that they're in. Or, to put it nicely in the words of Michelle Obama, we all have doubts about our abilities, our power, and what that power is. Now, if that sounds a little bit like you, I'm sure you've wondered before how to get out of situations where you felt like an imposter. Often people talk about how to best combat imposturism. It's been called a syndrome or an illness. So very negative connotations. But what if imposturism was actually a good thing for leaders and organizations? Now, imposturism is real. It's a genuine feeling. I can tell you from experience, you can't ignore it. Many of us have it and live with it. So can we manage imposturism? Can we use it in a way that it serves us and our workplaces of the future? I think so. And I'm curious to hear what you think. The big question is how? How can we manage imposturism and turn it into something positive? So first, seeing and realizing that even top-level leaders sometimes feel like frauds. The less we glorify leaders, the better we're able to speak truth to power and influence decisions. Second, coming to grips with our own limitations. This can help us appreciate the strength of others. We become more open to change, we become more inclusive, and we can start to think outside of the box. And finally, third, realizing that even leaders don't know it all. It takes away the pressure for us to be perfect. And the less we feel this need, the more we can be who we actually are and act authentic to our true selves in the workplace. So, the next time you feel like an imposter, I want you to stop. I want you to stop beating yourself up. Instead, think about the power of leader imposturism. Yes, you are a leader. And yes, you feel like an imposter. And it is because of that feeling that you have power. You have the power to make others feel that they belong where they are. You have the power to make others feel that they are worthy of what they have accomplished. So, if there is one thing I would like you to walk away with today, it's that when you feel like an imposter, you are given an opportunity to be a better leader. And we need more leaders who feel like imposters. Thank you to my wonderful collaborators.